How's it, guys? Welcome to BeardYGO. Today we have Mr. Moonsong over here.
Yes, right,
And
yeah.
yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out his channel, have a look. The link will be in the description down below. Moonsong, Robert.
Yes.
It's a sin to say YouTube is his real name.
It is. I know it feels weird sometimes. I notice
Yeah,
that. People are like Robert and it doesn't feel right.
yeah, exactly. So tell me, man, you've been on a roll. I mean, from the
So I've heard, yeah.
first regional win, you also took SWORDSOUL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes
And
I did.
then your second one as well, and that was
Yes. That was
with the
also with Sword
Auroradon,
Souls.
with the Auroradon
That was with
and
the Rodan,
the new
yes.
Synchro. And then I think for a little bit you switched over to Prank Kids, right?
Yeah, I borrowed a couple of cards from people and I was like, hey, I've got the adventure engine. I want to make use of it. So I decided
Yeah,
to play a deck that could use it. So I borrowed the deck, the rest of the stuff from other people and played
yeah,
it. Yeah.
cool, cool. So then on top of regionals and now winning states in Gauteng, you
Yeah.
know, you've also taken Beard Yu-Gi-Oh tournament as well. First and second place in two tournaments as well, which just shows that you know how to you know how to play with stuff that's still going to be coming out. A lot of guys, they don't take the time to be testing stuff out and everything, and you've proven that you actually know what you're doing. You know, you're not the stereotypical Yugi tuber that's just like, oh, let me just make content. And
We get it when it
so
comes. Yeah.
yeah, so
Ooh, dinosaur's best deck.
yeah, dinosaur's best deck. Ah, all right, so let's get into your deck list, and yeah,
Alrighty.
let's have a look. So we see you playing obviously the standard ratios of the triple Incredible Ecclesia
Yes.
and then triple Moye.
I know a lot of people dropped Ecclesia down to 2, but
Yeah,
you want the most
you
consistency
do want
possible.
that
So,
consistency.
yeah.
Then we've got the double tire,
Yes.
and that's
Because
standard.
it's really bad to open
Yeah,
going
you
for it. Yeah.
because you can't do anything with it if you have got nothing in your grave, man.
It's like the most amazing turn 3 card, but turn 1 it's just so
Yeah,
bad.
100%. And then we've got three copies of the long one.
Yes. Long one. Long one's
So
bad.
yeah, I remember with this. I think you and I faced off against each other in Dragon Town. It's one tournament,
Yes. Yes, I
and
remember.
I burnt you for 800, and then you burnt me for 1-2 in time, and it was so bad.
It was like I should have lost that one.
Yeah,
It's
but
so when you're both playing for time, it's
yeah,
like, I'm good. No, you're not.
yeah, we both just burnt for time, and yeah, my burn was insufficient.
Yeah, just not enough.
Right, so those are the standard monster ratios basically for Sword Souls. Um,
Yes,
and then I see you also playing the 10 years and everything. Um,
yes,
so the triple Adhara, triple
yeah,
Ashuna, and triple Vishura, and then the one Sathana.
Astana, yeah,
Yeah. So that I think is also pretty standard as well. For
yeah. I felt
max
like
max
maxing.
consistency
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted. At least like if you're gonna go into a big round tournament, you want consistency as the most because you want to have combo in every single hand
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
and
and it also creates siding out space, which is nice.
yeah, no, it definitely does. And the nice thing is that the 10 years are actually just so underrated, actually.
Yeah,
I mean, just the fact that you can just get rid of stuff with Vishura. Like, Vishura
yeah.
carries a lot of games as well, you
Yeah,
know.
it's just insane. It's just you're out
It's
to like your skill drains,
exactly,
your freaking it's
it's
just your everything.
it's definitely a mad one.
Mm.
So then the Sathana, yeah, that's basically just to get rid of an opponent's monster. So it's not. I actually lost the duel through this. Um,
Yeah,
I was playing against another guy. I think it was Innes, and I had
yeah.
everything. I literally had everything, and then I just decided like, oh no, let me just attack.
Into a monster, the monk.
Yeah, and then the Satana was there, and then it lost me the game.
Yeah, sometimes you just summon Astana and make a monk, and then out opponent's like
Yeah,
biggest negate on the field.
it
It's
was
just
it was
insane.
so horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my attacking order was so bad. I think I attacked into the monk first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can punish you.
and I think it was with the Mathmech Final Sigma, so I could have
Oof.
like done like decent damage.
Oh, that's
Um,
painful.
but yeah, that was a mess up. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we see you running one ghost spell. So what's the idea behind one ghost
Uh,
spell?
that's that's
Because
weird. So
ghost spell is really good this format.
yes, I know a lot of people are playing Crow. Now, I was playing like two Veiler. I didn't want to push it to a third because, like, I don't know. Veiler is good, but I had the three Imp Perm and I didn't want to play too much of it. And
Yeah,
I had three Ash as well. Um, and for the Ghost Bar, I wanted to play something that kind of hit uh, Albaz Despia in the main.
yeah,
And you're out to the Albaz Despia. The reason why people are playing Crow right now is to hit Brandon in red, because that's the issue.
yeah.
Brandon in red is the big issue. And so I already had Called by the Grave, which hit it. So I just needed one more card that kind of hit it, and Ghost Spell filled that void.
Okay.
But not only the reason why I played the one was I didn't want to put in like too many more, because then I was going to 45, 44, and I felt like that was hitting consistency too much.
Yeah,
I wanted another level 3 tuner that could help me make my Baron with my tennies,
yeah,
which is why I chose Bell over Crow.
yeah.
Because
Because
I
you
know
you
you
you can
still,
you can use the what's the Ashuna and the Vishuda
yeah,
to then make the Baron like that.
it literally helped me play through Tikaboo in the finals.
Mm,
So like it was
that's
just
nice.
insane. And it's also really good against Eldritch. Bell is
Yeah.
insanely good against Eldritch as well. And the reason why I played it instead of a Crow is because it's a tuner, which
Mm,
is really, really good for the deck, you know.
yeah. All right. Cool. 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 So would you have maybe upped it to two or something?
I was thinking of upping it to 2 at one point, but like every time I put it in, it would just so mess with the hands. Like
Mm,
people don't understand how putting in one card can really change the
yeah.
ratios for the deck. And every time I bumped it up to 2, it just felt so clunky. But like I know it's weird and it's like the Saki one-off, but Saki one-offs are kind of like the format at the moment. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the Chord by the Grave, you know. I
Yeah.
feel like looking at it as almost the second Chord by the Grave in a way.
Mm,
Um, that was the idea behind it, because that Ash is by far the current meta's best
yeah.
hand trap, and then
Yeah.
Imp Perm is just in for playing around like so many things. Like Imp Perm also stops like the best deck, which is Despia Elbaz, but then you also need it for things like Flu Underease. You know, you need it for the mirror match because it kills the mirror match. So people were playing like Crow over like Veilers, and I did not, I didn't see the validity in that, because Crow does nothing to like Sword Soul, which is still really, really good, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like the hand traps that I did play kind of had more effectiveness to what the general meta is, rather than just trying to beat Albaz Despia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we've got Bell and Ash down. Ash obviously at
Yeah.
3 because it's best hand trap right now.
Yeah.
And then the Veilers that along with the Imperms is definitely for
Yeah.
Despia as well. And I,
Yeah.
I would say probably also a little bit for the mirror match as well.
Yeah. It's insane
Just
in the mirror match. And
dropping
Flu
dropping a
Underease. It
Moye.
kills Flu Underease.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, cool. Those are the hand traps, and then obviously we got the triple emergence,
Yeah.
the one sacred summit.
Yeah. No one's playing that for some
Yeah,
reason.
so tell me about this one.
Um, okay, so sometimes going first, it is like if you're going first in game 3, sometimes it is like a nice side out.
Yeah,
But usually for going second, a lot of the times when you play out through these boards, a lot of the top tier decks right now, like Despia, like Sword Soul, they have so much follow up that if you don't kill them within that turn, they're gonna blow you out through your stuff.
yeah,
And sometimes with something like Sword Soul, you usually get the 1-2 burn, and then you're just able to do like maybe 5,000 damage at least,
yeah,
plus minus on an average after playing through a board. And sometimes you just need that little bit of an extra push, and the summit does give you that for the game. And
yeah,
sometimes it just gives you that like little extra. just that extra bit of damage that you needed for that final game, which really pushes it so much further. And people underestimate it, and it's really helped me in situations. Sometimes you even side the Blackout out going second because of the summit.
Okay.
It becomes like your push instead of your interruption,
Okay,
if that
cool,
makes sense, to
cool.
create more.
Yeah.
And it brings back like a Longyuan or a Chen or a Xiao, which is just insane, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I think a lot of people, especially in South Africa now that they're seeing, you know, you playing the summit, maybe they'll start running it as well.
Yeah.
They'll maybe start catching on a bit.
Yeah.
Right, so moving on, we've got the two Vessel for the Dragon Cycles,
Mm.
and we've got the two Dragon Cycle of Celestial
Yes,
Illusions,
the
which
Heavenly
is
Dragon Circle.
Heavenly Dragon
Yes.
Circle. Yeah, OCG vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically standard as well.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
back and
think
forth.
some people, I think they run like one Heavenly Dragon Cycle. A lot of
Yeah.
people enjoy the Vessel more.
Some people are just on like 3 vessel and no
Yeah,
cycle. But I feel like in this current meta, cycle is like
yeah,
really impervious. Because of like it allows you to play through things like skin and
yeah.
allows you to play through like hand traps, which is really, really good.
Mm. No, definitely. Then draw power. We got double desires. Are you happy we got two desires
Like
back?
it did, yeah. The amount of times I drew desires off Moi for combo was just ridiculous. It and it's so much pluses. Like you go full combo, you go Moi draw one, Long Yuan draw one, and search the blackout, and then you draw desires off your last draw, and you activate desires at your end of the turn, and the look on people's faces is just like, oh my god, you end up with like 6 cards in your hand after combo. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it feels good. And I once in my first game, my round 1, I opened with a really bad hand and I top deck desires, and I desires into a desires. I'm like, wow, that hasn't happened in a while.
Wow,
So
yeah.
it was like kind of punishing me for getting it back for the
Mm.
first round. But yeah, really good.
Yeah, well, I think desires is finer too. Like I don't really I never enjoyed deck lists that were running three desires.
Mm.
I think it just eventually gets too cloggy.
Yeah,
Unless you're running something dumb like Graham Marju, then
yeah.
why do you
So
need three desires, you know?
I'm sure Grandmaster players are happy to have it back in
Yeah,
too.
no, 100%. That deck was
Pretty
bricking
much.
already.
Yeah.
Right, so with the one call by, we've discussed that with a Ghost Bell. It's
Yeah, called
basically
by is just so insane.
yeah,
It's just such a good card.
it's definitely really, really good. And yeah. What did you think about maybe um Crossout along with a call
Uh,
by?
I didn't feel like I needed it because if you're running Crossout, you're assuming that a lot of people are going to be playing the same deck as you, and also if you're running Crossout, you have to be able to play all the hand traps, and I wasn't playing them all in this
Yeah,
build.
yeah.
I was only playing like three different hand traps and one bell, which I felt like didn't validate the need for it. I
Mm,
mean, with the prank kids I was playing, I was running like two of everything.
yeah,
So then you do play the cross out,
yeah.
because it's insane.
Yeah, because
And not
I
many
was
people
just
are running
thinking
that anymore.
the Crossout at the moment because Bell, Ash, Imp Perm, Vela are so prominent right now, especially literally just for Despia, you know.
Yeah.
So I was wondering like, okay, cool, since so many people are running basically the same line of hand traps,
Yeah.
the only
I
thing
mean,
that would hit you is a DD Crow, and that doesn't really do anything to you.
yeah, DD Crow does nothing. Like I remember I
Exactly.
was playing a casual game on Sunday and literally someone had a DD Crow in their hand and it was just dead.
Yeah.
But like things like Imperm and Vela, they're really good against SWORDSOUL.
Yes.
But your literally Heavenly Dragon Circle plays around that. So your
Yeah.
Heavenly Dragon Circle is your pseudo crossout, I guess,
Mm.
against those cards.
Okay.
So that's the reason why you don't need to play them because you
Yeah.
can play around stuff like that.
Awesome. Awesome. And then we got the three Imperm, obviously, also for the mirror and for the Despias, and then the one Blackout. So
Yeah.
previously you'd play more than one Blackout, I think. That was
Yes.
before the Aurodon version. Now it's become standard to drop it down to one.
Yeah. I've dropped it out.
Um
I've dropped it down to one. If I desires it, oh well.
Yeah. That it
I mean,
doesn't really make a difference. I mean,
yeah.
the boards you put out are sufficient enough most of the time.
I mean, it's really nice to banish off Tire, but you know,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever happens, happens with it.
All right, moving on to the extra deck. So we've got the double Xiao, then we've
Yes,
got the one Chengying and
yes.
the one
Long one.
long one. Yeah. So
Yes.
these are your standard sword soul
Yeah.
ratios.
The long one is insane versus Eldritch.
Yeah,
and
and I
and Branded
mean,
Despier. It does better than Baron against Branded Despier.
okay, that's actually
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. Like I think I went into the long one like 3 times more than I went into Baron
Mm,
on the day. I literally ended up going for that combo more than
yeah.
Baron.
All
Yeah.
right. That's really cool. It's nice to see that there's something else that can just go in and be better in matchups than Baron.
Yeah.
Because Baron is insane in price, man.
Yeah, because it's really insane. Because literally, their main thing is like if you hit the branded lost, which is their negate, you can always banish that, and it's a problem for them.
Yeah,
But then also, like if you banish things like the polymerization, you're able to target the chimera,
yeah.
or things like that. I mean, and if you banish a lot of the fusion summons, it does hurt quite a bit.
Mm, hundreds.
Mm.
Right, so YangZings, we know you
Yeah,
are a fan favorite YangZing player
avid,
as well.
avid, all the way from the dot. Yes.
From when they released and all the way till now,
Yeah.
you keeping them in it basically every deck you want to play, even in Altergeist.
As much as I can, dude. It's just throw it in the extra deck
Throw
just
them in the
because.
Altergeist so you can just banish them off like Prosperity.
Yeah, we play Destrudo, and then we just like go Destrudo into Yazi. Let's do that.
Yeah, so we got the one Yazi, the double
Mm.
Baxia, and
The
one
amount of times I went into
Xiao Feng.
Yazi on the day was actually flippin' insane.
Yeah, so
Like,
what did
yeah.
Yazi do for you?
He a lot of the times you actually play around a lot of boards because you go like the long on discard the Ashana going second is insane, and a lot of people are like, oh, he's gonna go into a level 10, we pop the token.
Mm,
But then what you do is you banish the Ashuna and get the Adara and you make Yazi, and then it literally turns off Xiao, it turns off Imp Perms, it turns off
mm,
any targeting destruction that they have and they can't use it, and
yeah.
you're able to out a monster. And literally, it helped me play around. I think it was in my round 3. It helped me play around like a token collector.
Yeah.
And I ended up going into the Yazi, popping the token collector, and I summoned my Ashuna. And then I went full 10 combo after that to prevent myself from getting nibbed. And then
Oh,
continue to
nice.
play,
Nice.
which was insane.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
so Chao Feng, what did that do for you? Because
Chao Feng
um
won my final game, my finals.
won your final games because he can't summon lights?
Because you can't summon lights, and Golden Lord is a light, and
Yeah.
he couldn't. He had a dead nib in hand, so
Golden Lord and all the traps are lights.
yeah, and he had a dead nib in hand the whole game. So it was
Wow.
just it won me the finals. If you know
Very
they're playing
nice.
nib, because I played him in the final round of Swiss,
Yeah.
so I knew he was playing nib, and then I played him in the finals again. So it was like,
Okay, nice. So
yeah.
basically a buy.
No, I wouldn't say buy. If you had to see that finals wasn't a buy. It was a hard game. I just knew what was coming, so I was
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I've checked and I'll definitely be doing his deck profile as
yeah.
well. And yeah, the ratios he's playing, man, like it is it
It's wild.
yeah, it's
It's wild.
scary. It's scary,
Yeah.
definitely. Right, so I see you running the one Draco Berserker of the Tenyi.
Yes.
Um and okay, let's get over to Baron quickly. So we've got the Baron, we've got the Shaman, and we've got the double Monk.
Yeah, that's like staple.
Yeah, so the Draco hasn't really been staple. It's like an optional type of thing.
Yeah.
So you just wanted it so that you could just get rid of cards, get rid of
Yeah,
monsters.
so it's really good against like token collector because as soon as they try to summon token collector back, you can
Yeah.
automatically banish it.
Okay.
But what it did for me, even in the top 8 game, my opponent ended up having, it was a mirror match, and he ended up having a long one and a monk on the field. So summoning the Tenyi literally hit over the long one and gained 2-9, and I was
Mm.
able to do like 4-9 damage over the monk before I attacked with
Wow.
the rest.
Okay.
So people underestimate the insanity of how strong its OTK capabilities are.
Yeah.
So it's
Especially in
kind
the
of like,
mirror.
yeah, it's kind of like having your own borrow sword in a
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
And every deck needs a card like that, and that is basically the deck's borrow sword, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah,
Okay,
which
and
is
then we've got Hulk here and Formula Synchron, right?
yes, yeah.
So you still decided to run the little Hulk engine,
Hmm.
despite the Rorodon being gone. Um, and that's one thing I was wondering is because if we have a look at one of the top decks in the US, uh,
Yeah,
these two cards weren't in there. I think it was a third Monk and Psychic
yes,
and Punisher.
yeah.
And so what are your thoughts on Psychic and Punisher, and what's your reason for opting for Hulk and Synchron?
So Psychic End Punisher is an insane card, and it's very difficult to out, and I applaud them for actually giving that a try. But for me, I ran Hulk for two reasons.
Mm,
So one of the reasons was it helped you get, if you opened like really insane, it helped you get extra advantage on your opponent's turn. So you could make, for example, a Xiao plus a Baron plus a Berserker plus a Hulk on your opponent's turn if you open the best hand,
mm,
and then your Hulk would let you go into the formula synchron and get the draw, and then you can synchro with the synchron into a Chi
yeah.
with the Chi into the Baron or into the longer one on your opponent's turn to get that extra push of another negate,
Mm,
which is just insane. It makes your first turn board like really really stupid. And also another thought, and it actually did come up in the tournament, was where what people are starting to main now a lot more is D barrier. D barrier has
yeah.
become insanely strong in the current format, and it's actually funny enough. Hulk is a way to play around D barrier, so it allows you to go combo without having D barrier to be much of an issue.
Yeah.
So what happened was my opponent didn't have too much advantage. I managed to open a blackout and enough to make Hulk and an emergence. So what I ended up doing was I linked into the Hulk and summoned an Adara from deck,
Mm,
and then I managed to tribute summon a long yuan over the Adara, which is, I know, weird, tribute summoning a
yeah.
long yuan the level 6. It's strange. But then during my opponent's turn, because I'd caught synchro, I couldn't synchro. So during my opponent's turn, I banished the Hulk to make formula and got the draw into an Ash. And then on their turn, I used formula plus long yuan to synchro into a Baxia, and you get a shuffle
Yeah. Okay.
on their turn. So it
Cool.
allows you
So
to play combo through into their turn, and the Baxia still gets chain blocked by the long yuan burn,
yeah.
which is like insane.
So you opted more for the Hulk because you were preparing yourself against the D barrier basically.
Yeah, exactly. It allows you to play around D barrier if you
Yeah.
have like some sort of play, and that's where you tribute summon the long yuan, which is a weird play,
Mm,
but you got to do it.
yeah. Awesome. And then your side, pretty standard. We got triple Lancio.
Yeah,
That's
I don't think that
obviously
many people are playing Lancia actually.
yeah. I
Funny
don't think
enough.
so either. And it's actually just such a very good card against Albion. Especially
Mm,
if they're trying to go for the Dragoon play, then
yeah,
they go Brain Fusion, drop two, and then you just bring out the what you call it. You drop the Lancia because once
yeah.
they've got the Albion, it's not cost to banish, so then they just lose out there completely.
Yeah, exactly. It really hurts the Despia deck because they can't even brand it in red
Yeah,
either
can't
on
brand it
their
in
turn.
in red. Um, there's a bunch of different stuff, and not even just the Despia side of it. I mean, if you look at guys who are just taking in branded stuff from the
Yeah,
Albaz structure deck, the gold sock to get that Mercuria. I mean, this stops Tri Brigade.
yeah,
I mentioned before in one of my previous videos that Tri Brigade branding is still a thing. You just go into the Mud Dragon, and you can
yeah,
still make the Mirror Jade.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Even like a pure Tri Brigade build is just, or bird up, you know,
Exactly.
is still a thing. And
So
it
yeah,
also
it's,
hurts flu underease, you know, because
yeah,
no banishing.
they can't
And it's
banish,
good in the
and Flu
mirror.
Andres is actually very good this format as well. For some reason, it's just a lot of times they fall out just in top cut, you know.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's good in the mirror because
yeah,
tennies are if you literally the only issue in the mirror match is the tennies. If you can play through the sword soul combo,
yeah,
but the tenny is like out your board, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then triple gamma one driver, obviously.
Yes, Gamma has been my saving grace for I don't know how long. I could not play it.
All right. So when do you gamma them? In your turn, their turn?
It depends. If the
Like what?
situation comes
If
up and it's your turn, hey, it's
if it's in
amazing.
your turn, what's it? Probably just to protect you from getting hit when you're activating like emergence or something like that.
Yeah, it usually protects you from getting hit, or like if your Ecclesia goes off and they're gonna ash it, it protects that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's like you never side it in against decks like Despia Elbaz because they don't really use monster effects that much.
Yeah.
But like you sided in the mirror match definitely. You sided in against Fluanderies definitely because it's
Mm.
like super insane and things like that. And if you open up like Gamma Lancia and then you end up with two like a possible Synchro 8 on board or a
Yeah.
possibility to go into Hulk,
Yeah.
like that's just insane, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
I
really
remember.
really
I
good.
think I gammaed a guy, and he lanced me, and I was like, thanks. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, thank you.
It just really helps out, you know.
Yeah.
And also it's just like really good against hand traps, and it's really sometimes negating a monster like Ash does is just not enough, you know. You got
Yeah.
to get rid of it as well.
Cool. Then we got the back row removal. So
Yes.
Feather Duster Red Reboot, and obviously evenly I'll count as back row as well.
Yeah.
So I think what's it? Feather Duster or Red Reboot was probably like the best out of them.
Yeah.
Red
But
Reboot, right?
Red Reboot, I think Red Reboot came up like twice. I think I Red Rebooted twice in that tournament. And then I Harpies twice in that tournament as well. So
Nice,
both
nice.
of the time it was just it's an insane blowout. These Saki one-off cards are just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Like
And
Red Reboot is just so disgusting. If you Red Reboot the guy, like I mean, the deck that you are running is basically just gonna OTK. So
yeah.
you know it's over when you drop a Red Reboot and they can't
Yeah.
respond to it.
And you also like if you're gonna you always side it in going second because they're always gonna side in D barrier against you
Yeah,
and you need it, you know. So
exactly.
it's really prominent right now.
Yeah. And then evenly, obviously, and then you opted to
Yes.
also side 3 anti-spell fragrance.
Yes, for going first because it literally shuts down Despia.
Yeah.
It turns Despia off. Sometimes you even side it like going first. Oh, against Flu Underease, it hurts them a lot as well because they
Yeah,
play a lot of blowout cards.
it could hurt them, especially with they draws.
Mhm.
You know, the continuous spell, the field spell.
Yeah,
Even though the deck is more monster centered, the
yeah.
anti-spell fragrance can slow them down quite a bit,
Yeah, you
which is
mostly side it
nice.
in going first because going against them, they usually have blowout cards like Lightning Storm and Dark
Yeah,
Ruler no more, and it just shuts that down entirely and makes this side deck completely
yeah.
useless to you, you know. And then they
Mm.
just try to combo off, and also they don't get the extra normal summon with the field spell, so all you need to do is like Xiao their normal summon, and they can't do anything,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
All right, cool. So that is the deck list, man. So
Yeah.
tell me, what would you say is the best deck right now?
Sure. Um. It's very hard to say. I think right now, SWORDSOUL and Despia are currently competing for the best deck.
Mm,
I think SWORDSOUL does have more consistency than Despia does, but I think Despia has a higher ceiling and can play through a lot more.
yeah.
So it's very like to and fro with the two.
So the Despias have a better grind game
Uh
than Sword Souls, or
I think
what would you say about that?
I think SWORDSOUL does have a stronger grind game, but I think Despia
If you top deck emergence and Moyo.
Yeah, I think Despia yeah, I think Despia can just play through a lot more though
Okay.
than SWORDSOUL can.
Yeah.
Because I think Despia can like they out so many things with one card, and it's like a lot of their summons require polymerization, and there's not much to like stop a polymerization. You know, it's very hard to get spell and trap negates on the field.
Yeah.
Whereas like monster effect negates and interruption like that is easy to get, but they can chain block like all the time.
Mm.
And with Branded Lost being like a pseudo meltdown, it's really insane to not be able to respond to anything that gets hit on summon, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like spell speed 4 is ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. So now you say that Branded and Branded Despia and Sword Souls competing for around first place for being the best deck of the format.
Yeah.
Um, besides that, what made you choose Sword Souls over Despia or Therion or Adventure type of stuff? You
Yeah.
know, what was your reasoning behind taking Sword Souls?
I think I always had a love for the deck. There was always that sort of calling to it, especially with the YangZings in it. It's more like a deck that's kind of close to my heart.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it's like insanely good, I think um, I learned a knack for like being able to pilot it pretty decently. And at the time it was coming up, I was contemplating whether to play Prank Kids or Sword Souls. And
Mm.
then the ban list came and I was like, oh, that makes it easy, you know? So
Yeah.
it was that kind of thing. And
Then it was like a no-brainer.
yeah, and it was that kind of thing where like I knew the whole deck in and out and how to play against certain
Yeah.
matchups, and it was just about figuring out how to evolve it to match up to what there is now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's what kind of like really helped. And it's just I think because I had a full understanding of the deck and it's brought me so much success in the past,
Mm.
I chose that because it would be easier to basically go
Yeah, and I mean
autopilot.
you're already really good with the deck as well, and that helps a lot. I mean, a lot of people, they'll play every single meta deck for a little bit and
Yeah,
be average, whereas you have one guy who's like perfecting a rogue deck even, for
yeah,
like a year, and then he just starts topping events and stuff with
yeah.
rogue because of how good or how well your deck and how to play
And
around
the
certain
matchups,
things and
yeah.
everything. So
Yeah, exactly.
you know becoming good with one specific deck is what a lot of people really underestimate. They just
Yeah,
think like, oh, the next best deck is gonna be the best thing, and then
yeah.
you surprise them with your experience, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about like the experience and your understanding of the game. Because in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's one thing that people miss out on is there's patterns to everything, and every
Yeah.
deck has a pattern, and you have to figure out where the pattern is, where the link is the most fragile.
Yes.
And where is your link the most fragile? And how do you make the links not intertwine, but also where do you find the strength in your link to be able to break theirs?
Yeah.
And it's a very complicated thing that a lot of people haven't picked up. Where's the pattern? Because every deck has a searcher, every deck has a send to grave, every
Yeah.
deck has like some sort of interruption or pop. And where do you find that? And how do you prevent them from getting to that? And
Mm.
what is the key card that kind of enables it and is the actual you just basically have to dumb it down to build it up again, you know, and
Yeah.
figure out where the weak points are.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about the tournament, man. What did you face in your round? So let's start off with round
Jeez.
one.
So it wasn't it wasn't an easy day. Round one, I started immediately with a mirror match, SWORDSOUL mirror match. So
Nice, nice.
that was pretty hectic. And then round two, we ended up. I think I took the mirror match 2-1 because
Yeah.
game one I like completely opened terribly. I think I opened two Imp Perms, an Ash, and then an Ecclesia, and a Vela. So it did nothing.
Wow.
Um, then round two, I ended up facing Mech Knight Musketeers, which was an interesting deck. Never faced it before, but I know the Musketeer matchup. I know the Mech Knight matchup because I remember
Yeah.
some people used to play Musketeers back in the day, and I knew that
Mm.
how the deck worked around. And then round three, I Pranesh and his branded Despia. A lot of people in South Africa know Pranesh and how much of a good player he actually is.
Yeah.
He made top 32 at a YCS, which was really insane. So that was quite a wild ride. I know he did misplay, which was kind of in my favor for that. But he did like really, really well.
Mm.
And then in round 4, I ended up facing Dino Eldritch, which is terrifying because they make insane boards and they can kill you so quickly.
Who was that?
It was
It
Andre.
was
I'm
Andre.
sure we all know
There's
Andre
only
is.
one.
There's only one. There's only one Dino Eldritch player, and he pilots that deck like a monster. Like,
Yeah, no,
don't
he's
just
really, really good.
he's literally theory crafted that deck since day one, and it's been insane. It's been a
Yeah.
powerhouse, and he's always done really, really well with it. So as soon as you go against it, you're like, not because it's like, it's like, you just never know what you're gonna get with the deck. And if it doesn't blow you out with its monsters, the Eldritch stuff will control you.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a win or lose. You're either gonna get completely blown out, or you're gonna get like, you're just gonna be able to stop it
Yeah.
at some point. So it's terrifying because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, no, I just always try and hit the curious.
Yeah, or something.
That's all I do, man. Just hit the curious. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but he's always got a different combo somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
no,
respect to him for how he's built the deck.
he's
Like,
really,
it's
really
really cool.
perfected playing dinos.
Yeah, and he's like mixed the Eldritch variant very well, and using the normal monsters with the field spell. It's just insane.
Not even the field spell, the survival's end, man.
Yeah, the survival's end. He just pushes that card to the limit, dude.
It's
So good.
insane. Right,
Yeah.
so what's round 5 now, eh?
Yes, round 5, I ended up facing Sandesh. I believe he plays in Durban, I think. It was a mirror match as well. He's really good with the deck.
Yeah.
I heard people say stories about him, so I was like, "Whoa, this guy is." From what I hear, he's like really good, in the stories. And then in round 6, I ended up facing Innes. He was also playing Branded Despia. So he was doing really good in the tournament up until that point.
Yeah.
So it was really, really insane. I think he ended up bubbling. He just made it on the bubble. So he was like 9th, 10th place or something like that. And then in the final round, I ended up facing Branded Eldritch, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was Predation. So
Yes.
that was the full on, trying to deal with skill drain and Tikaboo and Mirror Dragon and all those things.
Yeah.
Which was quite scary. And
So
then
what was your score after Swiss?
I ended up going EXO in Swiss. So
Very nice, very nice.
Drop a game, didn't get a draw. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were actually in first place after Swiss.
Yeah, first place after Swiss, and then went straight to Top Cut.
That's a record, man. That's a record.
Yeah,
First place after Swiss, first place after Top Cut.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's
dude.
a clean tournament.
Yeah, it's terrifying though, because you get to that like X1 after XO after Swiss. I mean, we heard in the Cape Town regionals, Nikki Taylor ended up going XO after Swiss with Fluanderies, and then immediately got knocked out in top 8, which is like terrifying, because
a lot of times it works out like that. You see the guy that goes XO in Swiss, and then first maybe he goes to top 4 and then gets knocked out.
Yeah, and it's just,
and it happens all the time. So kudos to you, man, for taking it all the way. So top 8. We know that you faced the branded what's it, Dogmatica Eldritch.
Oh yeah, branded Eldritch.
In the final round. So what happened in top 8 and top 4?
So top 8, I ended up playing against Mr. TFG himself, Yasha. He was also playing SWORDSOUL, so it was the mirror match. Really nice. Really terrifying game, was really tough. But like, shout out to Yasha, he did a great job. Flex Gaming SA.
Yeah.
It was
plug in.
There. It was really fun. It was a really fun game, and it was like, respect to him for making it that far into the top 8.
Yeah.
And then in top 4, I ended up facing Bruce. He was playing Fluanderies, which was my first Fluanderies matchup of the day. Considering how many Fluanderies there were, I dodged them all. But funny enough, like top 4, there were 2 Fluanderies, so it was a really strong deck throughout the day, and I thought they were gonna face each other in top 4. I was like, oh no, that's gonna be horrible. And imagine both the Fluanderies won in top 4, it would have been a Fluanderies mirror match in the final. That would have been just crazy.
That would have been insane.
But I ended up taking the game against Bruce. Luckily for Red Reboot, saved that in the game too. So it was just really, really insane.
Very nice. So, what would you say was the card that stood out for you the most, or what made the most impact for you in your deck?
I think the card of the day was definitely Longyuan, Kishing Longyuan.
For
That
the
for the banishing and the
yeah
burning was just insane. I don't know, that card put in so much work the whole day. It was really, really strong. Desires as well put in like a lot of work. It really like saved my ass a lot of times. And then I think Yazi. Those are like I would say the top 3 cards that really showed their stuff for that tournament, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, what card or cards would you have removed if you have a look at like what you know now from the tournament and everything? What do you think you would have probably taken out of your deck and not really played?
I think every card kind of showed its worth at some point or another. There was never a point where I saw a card in my hand and I was like, "Oh, this is dead." I think if anything, the only thing I did was side out Bell when going into the mirror match and against Fluanderies.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that changed. But everything else seemed like pretty solid, and I was really happy with the choices that I had made. And I think like the choices I had made, I would probably keep. Maybe in future meta, it will probably change. But for now, I think it's really in this tournament, I was 100% happy with the choices that I
yeah,
made. Um, I know a lot of people like are iffy about playing like the 3 Ecclesia and the 3 Moi or whatever, but a lot of ways I fixed that problem, which was with going second, I usually sided out 1 Moi, and
yeah,
going first, I sided out 1 Ecclesia for space for side deck. Because Ecclesia is terrible going first, but
yeah,
Moi is terrible going second because it's your normal summon and you have to reveal, and then if that
yeah.
gets hit, it's like, well, you know, Taya is your better summon going second. So
Okay.
it's just about like figuring out what to side out. Because yes, there's playing the deck, it's really important, and knowing how to play the deck, but knowing how to side, there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that, and it really struggles with the consistency
Yeah,
and being able to play through people's decks. So that's
yeah.
also quite like, for example, going second, I always kept the 3 Vishuda but sided out an Ashuna. But going first, I sided out a Vishuda because you don't get a bounce, and I kept in the 3 Ashuna kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's like, what do you need for going first? What do you need for going second? You know?
yeah. 100%. So, tell
Yeah.
me, with regards to this format, are you excited for it? Are you amped? Is SWORDSOUL gonna take another local or every local from now on?
I don't know. I think considering
Because
the
I
position I'm
think
in,
with events are pretty dead right now.
yeah,
Um,
well, I think they will
so
slow down for about 2 weeks, but I think after about 2 weeks, they're going to start kicking up again with new product coming in.
yeah,
So that's really, really exciting.
mm,
But I think considering the position I'm in, I'm quite happy with Sword Soul for the moment.
yeah,
I'm quite happy with the format, but I'm excited to see what it develops into, because obviously we're getting the new Legendary Ocean stuff, which I've got big plans for.
yeah.
Um,
Speaking of new product, that leads me to my next question, which is, what are we gonna see you playing next? What are you gonna be building next? What's your next project?
so I'm sure people have already seen that I'm really excited for the Umi deck that's coming up.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm really hyped up for that. But there is one more deck that I am building from the ground up, and that's going to be a secret to come in the future.
All
I
right. All
will not
right.
I will not disclose too much about that because my text will come in time. Also, if I mention any of the text, because the YouTubers we are the connoisseurs of the market. So if we mention a little itty bitty thing about one card, it's gonna explode, and
Yeah.
there's gonna be buyouts, and it's just gonna be insanely crazy. Like MCOL 40 will go on Market Watch and will be like, oh, someone said something about this card and now it's gone up in price, and then it's gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
just an insane
But
sort of
only in the South African market.
only in South African market. But it takes one American to hear about it.
that is true. That is true.
You literally mention it like some one of them. I don't know, Simo Farfa. He was like, "Oh, look, he's got a card." Yes, and then you'll figure out that they've picked up little video that's got like 100 and 200 and something views. Are like, "Oh, this is actually good," and then and then it spreads like freaking a virus or something, goes crazy, and then suddenly the card goes up and you haven't even bought it yet.
Yeah.
And now it's your fault. It's your fault because
It's your fault because you didn't buy it before talking about it.
so it's just about like, yeah, I've got plans and I'm really
Yeah.
excited, and I will release the plans as soon as I've got them in motion.
Oh, no worries, man. We'll definitely then see you on on the next deck profile that you top. But yeah, so that's about it. I think I got one more question, and since you went and won states, I know
Yes,
we don't get travel and everything to Europe.
I wish.
So are you looking to maybe going?
Financially, I don't think I can. I would love to, but the financial support is not there. Um, that was what we are hoping for in that. I would love to go, depending on what we see in the future, depending on how my finances go. I would definitely love to go and represent South Africa, because that's been my dream specifically. Like, one of the things I wanted to do, and one of the reasons why I wanted to win that, was to represent South Africa and hopefully make it all the way through
Yeah,
Worlds, and try bring this sort of notoriety to South African players that, hey, we're here, we're actually good, and there's people
yeah,
that are actually good here, and that's what I want to build up here, because then it will create a bigger environment here as well,
definitely,
and then you get
definitely.
people like, oh my god, he did that, I want to do that, and you not only are you fulfilling a dream of yours, but you're being able to pave the way for other people to be able to do it as well, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
um, and that's why I hope to make it there
Mm.
someday. So I don't think I'll be going, but I'll try see if I can make it as best I can.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man, Robert.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best of luck with the future tournaments and everything that you still have planned with the channel as well. Moonsong, guys, check him out on YouTube. Links in the description down below.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope to see some more games from you
Shenanigans. Yeah.
specifically. So yeah, that's about it,
Thank
guys.
you so much, Mr. BeardYGO.
Thank you for your time. It's a little bit late now here in South Africa.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, go full on Afrikaans there.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, thanks so much, man. And I'll see you around.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely at locals somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Alrighty.
All
Cheers,
right.
guys.
Cheers.
That's it.